out of 50 pyramids, by the way, and all 49 of the others are not sun-like stars. This one is the one that is in the greatest correlation area with a sun-like star. What does that tell you?
Interesting. Indeed. I mean, so this, if we were to overlay the stars of this pattern, what star does this, as you describe now, this obelisk correlate to? Which star is it?
Well, the name is a astronomical name. It's an HD reference, and I can't just think of it just off the mark like that. There's
sure.
A lot of research that's gone into it, but we've found that it fits most appropriately in the other, in Stonehenge particularly, in the Mars case particularly, in the Egypt one, because the river is so close to the edge there, you're not getting the exact fitting, but there's no other star that fits the alignment between the temples, between the pyramids, I should say, and the obelisk. If you look at the Abysser pattern that I have on my website, you'll see I've drawn in lines to try and show how they use the three in the row, because the Pleiades has got at least three of its stars, also like Orion, in a little group in a row kind of thing, and they measure an angle off it, and they've made this line follow into the right direction of the temple. So it's a generality in the Egypt story. It is not as precise as the other ancient civilizations. So I only had a clue with the Egyptian story that it was most likely this solar correlation with a sun-like star.
Yeah.
But to prove it, I had to find it in the other ancient sites. Then it all made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, do you think that the pyramids have been built by someone only to kind of, I guess, communicate this pattern?
I think there's a twofold story to the pyramids. You've got to acknowledge there's something very important that must happen inside of these giant monuments, with all the chambers, the star shafts. Something very important happens inside these pyramids, and most likely spirituality of a sort. That's something we've still got to learn about. Yeah. I'm researching that, and it'll be in my second book. I'm on the right path, and I think I've found something that is really amazing, but it's too early to say it. But it's twofold nature, and I'll give you a clue that both of them are to do with the stars. So, use your imagination there. They've shown the layout of the pyramids, perhaps, to show the most important stars, but while building them so massive, there's something else that happens inside of them that is to do with stars.
Interesting. So, I mean, I don't know if we approach this area too soon, but I mean, who do you think actually built the pyramids? And how?
Not little green men. No way. It was our ancestors. I think there's no simpler way of putting it other than saying, yes, it was our ancestors. There's no two way about it. But the question is, what if all of our ancestors came from somewhere else and we are the children of these so-called gods?
Yeah.
The people that have colonized this world. We've taken over the Neanderthals' territory. You know the old story about worrying about the earth being invaded by aliens?
Yeah.
It happened. It's done. We are them. We are the aftermath. The poor Neanderthal didn't have a chance. With our technology, our ability to just take over, there's quite a good chance that we probably didn't hunt him down and kill him and make him extinct in that way, but it's quite likely that he simply just caught our diseases. And we chased him out of territorial areas, and he probably was pushed into horrible places where there was no food and got sick from our diseases, all those sort of things. But I would like to think that it was a less suffering situation, that the Neanderthal lost his territory.
This is very interesting. I mean, a thing that pop up now in my head here, is, of course, is first of all, since there seems to be a disconnection from this point and where we're at today, because we basically are trying now, I guess, to rediscover our past to understand where we have come from. I mean, do you have any take on why this connection, why we have been disconnected rather from our past?
Yeah, we've always been trying to make things fit. For example, we see evolution from the Neanderthal backwards being very, very predictable, very consistent with fossil records. We can see changes as you go back millions of years. You can see changes in creatures over time and how they evolve. And there's no doubt about it to a scientist, there's no doubt about it to an average thinking person that this now is a science. But what if we have evolved somewhere else? Evolution is real, but this obviously means that there's a creator, there's some kind of design nucleus of the universe, and what if we evolved somewhere else and colonized it to see there was similar life? Would it be, in fact, I like to ask this question to a lot of people, if you believe in God, surely you would think that what we have on earth is pretty much near perfection, and we see everything up to date, so to speak, as per God's creation. Wouldn't you expect to find the same thing in other worlds? And wouldn't it be perhaps the so-called heavens, in the reference to the biblical writings, that there were many heavens, and it's often been debated about? Aren't these heavens the sky, the cosmos world? Would an afterlife in flesh and blood again be so bad? Would it not be a gift? These sort of things are very basic, but they're very, very sensitive, and people don't like talking about them.
Indeed. And of course, did we? Do you have any idea of how, I guess, we then came here to this planet?
It's going to have to involve the UFO subject. You can't go to space without something really mechanical, something really advanced. It's written in history. There's something that's so simple in history, and I've gone through it a lot in my basics of my first book, but I'm going to go into it in great detail in the second book, is the disc that had wings on it in Egypt, that had wings on it in Sumeria. And of course the American Indian had the same kind of teaching method, that they said that this disc that flew, the bird's wings, as they put them onto humans to teach angels, the great teachers that could fly, any theologian will tell you that is a teaching mechanism. It didn't have birds' feathers, it didn't have birds' wings, but they could fly. But this is a teaching mechanism. It provokes understanding and belief, especially to people 2,000 years ago. You can't tell somebody that he flew without wings. I mean, you'd be laughed at. So the wings are a very important teaching mechanism, and they attach them to this disc. And notice the disc analogy, it's not an orb, it's a definite disc. And I believe I found a lot of ancient proof, and it'll be in my next book, especially in the Egyptian side, what the disc looks like from the side elevation. That is something. I mean, there's a lot of ancient paintings, for example, in churches all over the world. You might have seen some of the websites already, especially with the Christ story, of UFOs in the background.
Yeah, sure. Very interesting.
People don't like to talk about these sort of things. Would it be so bad? In Revelations it says Christ will return with 7 stars.
Hello, are you there?
Sorry, I put my thumb over the mouthpiece.
Oh, okay.
when Christ returns, he has his in his right hand the 7 stars. To me, that's showing his address. And then in the other hand, he has the two-edged sword. Now, he's supposed to be riding a cloud. Would it be so bad if he's standing on something that it's really matter, it's really physical, and he needs the laws of science, which are the laws of the universe that God created? He needs to be standing in some kind of advanced equipment, which we would call unidentified flying objects. These things must register in the back of most people's minds, because if that day comes and we suddenly start shooting missiles at him because no, we want God to ride a cloud and come down, we've got to be open to this sort of thing. So I think it's there in history, and I think people need to relook at it. Yeah,
absolutely, certainly. And these are very fascinating, as you say, these old paintings and so forth. But I mean, do you think that the human race, I guess, do you think that we spread from this point that you have identified, or do you think that we kind of fled from there to here, or what's the story here?
What's so amazing is people are asking, if this really happened, where's all the evidence? There's something else that happened with it. It's the typical biblical flood story. Some major earth cataclysm has ended everything, ended Atlantis, and so much that we thought was real, it's now taken as mythology. I mean, Atlantis is not taken seriously anymore. Something has ended a really advanced era in the earth, and what it looks like to me is that we've had our ancestors come down here millions of years ago, because we found really unusual Homo sapiens fossils in soil layers with no holes dug into them, and they're dating the soil layers as millions of years old. There's no evolutional changes. Modern human beings. So there's some weird history behind us being here on this earth in the most weird places. But what is consistent is 30,000 years onwards, there seems to be almost like a first wave of colonization throughout the whole globe. And then about 10,000 years ago, we were still there, but the people that took over from there on are the survivors of a massive cataclysm. And it's quite likely that most of the people evacuated. They saw it coming, and I think it's an impact, a meteorite impact. causing the oceans to flood over the land. We've looking at geological evidence that seems to say the similar thing.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon, for example, formed by great water rushing and eroding. There's been somebody that put a great thesis forward showing that it was more than likely the ocean washing over. We have salt flats all around that area.
Yeah.
Where does the salt come from? The ocean. And, this sort of thing has ended all these civilizations. Our poor ancestors crawled out of the mud with the clothes on their back, never mind worrying about teaching children. If you watch these survivor programs they have on TV now, can you imagine how hard it is daily just to learn how to gather, to hunt, and just keep alive?
Yeah, yeah.
So reading and writing went out the door, and it was tradition by spoken word that has been carried forward, and new languages started all over the world. It's quite an amazing story. I mean, I'm purely speculating, and it's basing it on research.
Yeah.
So there must be a lot of scientists that are listening and saying, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, but I mean,
what else do we have?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have the myths, and we have the data that we can extract from the ground, archaeological evidence and so forth, and then we have the stuff that I guess don't kind of fit the bill, so to speak. But as you say, these are what we have to go on, and of course, if we are to take the myths serious, this of course is exactly what has happened, a global cataclysm. And a very interesting thing is, because I know that you also speak about oceans and stuff on Mars. I mean, do you think that this event that took place could have disrupted the entire solar system, basically?
Definitely, absolutely, 100%. It seems quite likely, and this is something that I've been battling with the NASA researchers, that the planet looks like it's just after the cataclysm. If you look at some of the craters on Mars, there are some that scientists originally referred to as splat craters. They look like giant, like a rock hitting a mud bank. It makes it splat. And these meteorite craters, to me, look like ocean beds that have been hit, that have been quickly emptied from part of the debris from the major single impact that caused the 2,000-kilometer wide crater. It's the biggest known crater in our solar system. It's on that planet, and I think it's recent. I think it's about 10,000 years old.
Amazing. So did the human race? Did we have? Did we ever go to Mars, or did we go there? First to Mars and then to Earth? Do you have any idea about that?
Good point. Looking at the position of the two planets, it's supposed to be measurable. If Mars once had an atmosphere, I've seen it written that the predicted temperature on its equatorial area, because of the greenhouse effect of an atmosphere, would put it in the absolute comfort zone for human occupation. It obviously would need a very good greenhouse effect, which is a very good, healthy atmosphere.
Yeah.
They've just rewritten the theory again that Mars had massive oceans. It came out about 10 years ago, and then they retracted it. That it might not be ocean beds that they're looking at, but there's a new news bulletin that's come out from scientists. It's on our website on the Mars page. Just click at the bottom of it, you'll see, and I guarantee you now it's going to be retracted again. I just don't know how they keep control over these things, but they say that the recent scientist opinion is that it had planet-wide oceans. So that's like the Pacific looks like from space when you look at just the Pacific.
Yeah.
It covers the whole size of the planet. What does that tell you? And how long ago was it like that, and where did it all go? That's what people should be asking.
Exactly. And of course,